It's a very interesting question, and that's something that I think about often, how to define the groove, especially with what I do teaching and doing workshops on that topic, and it changes all the time. It gets deeper and deeper, but the latest one, I like to think of groove as the ultimate wisdom. When you mature and you can say something that reaches very, very directly the masses, the audience. So when you can say with few words, well said and well done, a clear message, then it gets felt and understood by everybody. And translated that into drumming could be playing a beat with enough repetition, enough sound, beautiful sound, and consistency so that people can feel it and move it. I can't really think of groove without motion. You got to move to a groove. You as a player first, move, dance. You as a player first, and then the musicians with you, and ultimately the audience. So there's that strong connection between playing something, making it feel good, and reaching your target, the audience.
It's nice, man.
But again, there are different levels of conceptualizing that. But that's the latest one, like the old guy that says few words and
at the right moment.
At the right moment, to the point. Whereas, a younger player, not necessarily younger, but not as mature, might need to say so many different things, and because of that, you really don't get what's the message,
After a while you say, okay man, but what are you saying?
Exactly, where's the story, kind of a thing, If I backtrack and think when I was your age in school at Berklee, just out of school, the secret for me was really to try to play with as many people as possible. So that means being, diverse, being open-minded, and be able to play different styles, which, as you know, that's a big commitment. It means that you're listening to lots of styles and practicing lots of styles. And really, when the phone rings or the opportunity arises, to take it. I've done all sort of gigs, even when it was something that potentially was not really my type of gig. I took it anyway, because my philosophy was that at each gig I would meet 4 or 5 different people and pass my cards, and from that moment on, potentially I could be hired by one of those side men to be on another gig. And eventually it's like the branches on a tree, it expands, it grows into leaves. So to get the gig, you need to be out there, go to jam sessions, be visible, meet people, and really be open-minded, because really you don't know. It could be a silly duo project with a guy playing in a small coffee place in, out and about, out of the city, but you don't know who you're going to meet there.
Or
and
who's
also,
watching.
Who's watching, and this person might give you more work. So every opportunity is golden. The bottom line is really to get out and play, because the more time you spend alone in the room, and the less you decrease your chances of being seen and interacting with other people. I mean, what we do is about interaction, being together. So it's a social event, playing music. It is what
I agree with that, man.
That's step number 1.
Yeah.
Step number 2
is keeping the gig.
Is keeping the gig, right, which means to be very, very humble, professional, supportive. The bottom line is not you, is to make the artist sound good, actually to make everybody in the band. So get out of the drum cage. It's not about your part, but how is your part affecting the music and eventually the audience. It needs to be contagious in a positive way. My agenda has always been to make the band sound as good as possible, because if the band sounds good, they'll get another job, and hopefully you're in that pie. If you think you sound great because you're doing the latest licks that you've learned, or you're all caught up with your crazy independence and all that fancy stuff that we do in the practice room sometimes, it may affect the music in a negative way. You know, now all of a sudden you're not listening, you're not paying attention to the cues, to the body language of the band leader, or even reading the audience, what they want, what they don't want, when it's time to give energy, when it's time to not give energy, when it's time to be quiet, when it's time to crank up. So, you know, that's how you keep the gig, really, to be supportive. And at the end of the night, if the band leader is happy, the club owner is happy, you know, that lands to another job, most likely.
Yeah.
And again, the branches on the tree, you know, it's gonna grow in a positive way. Well, first of all, let's get rid of the word business for a moment. Let's rewind the tape to the moment when you started playing because it was fun. You know, nobody starts to play the drums or any other instruments or sport thinking that it's going to be a business, unless you have a crazy parent that wants you to become the best guitar player or athlete out there. But that's probably not a realistic or a healthy, positive scenario. So once we get rid of the word business and we talk about fun, I would say that, you know, we all like to do fun stuff. So if you translate your passion, or if you transform what's your passion into fun and vice versa, you're going to be playing for a long time. And that's going to be the key motivation that will keep you going for a long time. Then eventually it could become a business. You know, you're lucky. If your hobby is what they pay you for, phenomenal. I consider myself lucky in that sense. But the fuel was the passion. So what I'm telling the younger guys is to really, play as much as possible with that fun aspect in mind. So getting together with people, play songs that you like, you know, try to go to watch concerts, DVDs, keep it really at a fun entertainment level. You know, never really try to get into the lane of boredom where, you know, you do it because you have to. You know, that's the academic part, and, you know, of course, there's a lot of hard work. But if you find a way to even make practicing fun, then you know you'll be doing it for a long time. And also, you know, for the younger players, again, you got to get out of the cage. It's not about the drums, it's about the music. So I am not saying you shouldn't be in the practice room too long, but the real important aspect of studying music is when you actually do it with other people, you know, and perform in front of an audience. Really, the bottom line, it's a social event again, and it makes it more fun, productive, etc., etc. So, you know, if you have the option of doing 4 hours alone in the practice room and half hour playing with fellow musicians in front of an audience, or even without an audience in a rehearsal space, you're going to learn more in that half an hour that you do with musicians. Hours. Absolutely, I'm fully convinced of that. Okay.
Sergio, thanks a lot for sharing all of this with us, and I'll see you guys later in the factory.
My best wishes to you and the Drum Brother project, and thank you for making me part of it.
Thank you, Sergio.
Right on. Okay guys, I'm Sergio Bellotti. I teach drum set at Berklee College of Music, and today, here at the Drum Brother, in the Zildjian Artist Vault, I would like to talk to you about melodic drumming. Now, melodic drumming, I'm not really going to get into playing specific pitches on the drums, although there are some people that can actually do that brilliantly. But what I really would like to talk about is how to take the melody, which is the story in a song. It should always be what you're referring to, and elaborate, decorate, and embellish that melody all the way from the melody itself into what could be considered a drum solo or improvisation. But let's rewind a little bit. The key words are decoration, elaboration, embellishment, rather than improvisation. Because most times we think about the length of the form at best. And I'm talking about actually playing that particular song. So there is a big difference if you play any blues and just play time on a 12-bar blues form, or if you're actually playing that particular blues, that specific melody that the rest of the band is playing. That's going to make you a much better drummer. You're talking about the same story. You know what the topic is, and therefore you can actually function better and have a pleasant conversation and have fun, which is what it's all about. Otherwise, you'll be standing in the corner and everybody's talking about something and you just go like, yeah, that's right, yes, I agree. Now you're actually, by knowing the melody and playing that melody on the drums, or at least acknowledging the important notes of the melody, you're actually part of that story of the group. Now that's going to make you more musical. I'll give you some examples. The other important thing about really getting down with the melody is the fact that you're actually breathing and phrasing. When you're singing what you're playing, just like a vocalist would do, or any instrument that involves using your mouth, you have to stop and breathe. And that's very important. With guitar, violin, drums, you could be very non-human. You might get into letting your limbs do the talking for you while you breathe. That's very dangerous. That's called muscle memory, and I don't like that. That's not my philosophy of teaching at all. I'm talking about being able to sing it. So now you know it's coming from here, and we worry later about how to do it on the drum set, not the other way around. But let's get in the action. I'm going to pick a very simple melody, okay, so that everybody can do this at home. I'm going to pay a little tribute to the tradition of blues music, and the song in particular will be C Jam Blues, okay? Very simple, 12 bars, and I'm going to play the melody on the snare drum first. Next chorus, bass drum. Now both unison at the same time. Now I'm going to alternate. Or you can alternate the other way, snare kick. So imagine now you got so many ways you could orchestrate that very simple melody, which I chosen on purpose, written by the great Duke Ellington, entitled C Jam Blues. What you want to do is actually find as many versions as possible of that song so that you could really not only listen to the melody, but get ideas on how you could orchestrate that melody in different styles, So I'm not even just talking about jazz. What about if you don't play jazz? Well, even a guy that plays funk, rock, metal, country still needs to know the song and be part of that story that I was talking about. And then you gain your own freedom by elaborating, adding notes, or do whatever. So, I'm going to use the same melody, but if I'm playing with a shuffle feel, maybe a half-time shuffle feel, and I'll decide to play those notes of the melody on the bass drum. Don't forget to play with dynamics. Don't forget at home to try and orchestrate that melody in different styles. Seek the help of a local teacher, because wherever you live, there must be a great teacher. Find out who the best is that has a reputation, credentials, and years of experience. Study, listen to as much music as possible, and have fun. And thank you to the Drum Brother for having me on board and be able to share this knowledge with you. Enjoy. Until next time, Sergio Bellotti from Boston.